All right, welcome. Another episode of Assembling Titans. We have a guest on, but we're going to try to get him on every week. We got the infamous Ken Becks. He's going to be talking about Browns. He's from Ohio. I'll let him introduce himself, but he's very talented. He's a great talent evaluator, and I'm going to let you guys find out yourself. So, Ken, I want you to introduce yourself a little bit, and then I'll piggyback off of that and speak about myself. But the floor is yours.
My name is Ken Becks. I go by the Scout on the Twitter, First Down Scouting. You can get me on there. I'm not really much of a Facebook guy. Charles and the fellas trying to get me up on the Facebook. Maybe one day I'll try and get a little bit more. But for right now, you can get me on Twitter, and I throw content out there every now and then. Not as much as I used to, but I'm getting back in the mix. So that's pretty much me as far as an evaluator.
I got you. And for me, I mean, we released a video, Assembling Titans, the first video, Titans versus Cleveland Browns, installed with two Titans homers. Now we have the opportunity to bring Ken on, talk about the Browns more in depth. But for me, just kind of what I said in the first video, from a small town, Paris, Tennessee, West Tennessee, played high school football for Henry County, is a very well-known. If you're in Tennessee, you know who Henry County is, and that's where kind of I grew my football intel and my knowledge, and then from there, MTSU had some opportunities to walk on, Bethel Scholarship, Georgia State, decided to go in a different route. But I stuck around, built some relationships with MT recruiting and with their equipment staff. So I'm always around football, just extremely passionate about the Tennessee Titans, football in general. And, that's really it. Just a guy that's passionate and, ready to talk about football today for sure. We got a lot to talk about. As you know, as people will know once they see this video, Antonio Brown just got released. He asked for his release, and that's been a saga back and forth since he got traded. So I want to ask you, Ken, what do you think about this, the whole situation in general? First of all, would you have traded for him? How would you have kind of, maintained that situation?
I don't think you can question his talent. Definitely one of the top 10 wide receivers in the league at this point. But the off the field, the locker room stuff that's rumored. We ain't there, but I mean, it seems like it's coincidental and starting to happen quite a bit, no matter where he goes. For the contract they gave him, I'm not so sure I would have bid on it. You know what I mean? But man, I tell you, the way this stuff is being starting to progress, I could have never foreseen it going this far, where he actually got cut. From what I'm hearing, he was on Instagram and asked to be cut, and hey, they followed through and cut him. Then I was hearing, they were going to go game to game on his contract. So I mean, I kind of get that, as a player, you want some stability, and so he asked, like I say, on Instagram, said, hey, get rid of me. So they did. And right now, I'm just waiting for that 401 Eastern time, because as far as I know, he open field for anybody to get him. So whoever do get him, because somebody going to take a chance.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Depending on how you act, that could change the balance of how, the NFL season goes.
Exactly. I mean, I agree. I feel like, if we're talking about some of the teams that might be interested, we always know the Patriots are always trying to get better. They don't care. You have to do a lot for them to take them off of the board and radar in general. It's other teams like the Seahawks that might want them. The Giants they need a receiver, but they wouldn't go from, OBJ to him. It would be it wouldn't make sense. But as far as me managing that situation, first of all, I wouldn't have made the trade. First and foremost, I know that's a lot of money committed to a player that's kind of inconsistent in terms of, one of the things that you want from players and coaches is you want to be the same person every day. I know it's tough. We're all human beings, but you want that consistency, and you just don't get it from AB, regardless of the talent, regardless of the amount of money, invested. So I just feel like I wouldn't have done it. And as far as maintaining that situation, good luck. You know, I mean, good luck in terms of, you know, maintaining the situation, because you have a person that thinks of himself as he should as a, you know, independent contractor, as a sole proprietor. It's like AB, the business, you're dealing with a business, not a man or a player all the time. So it's just tough to kind of manage that situation. You really, things have to go darn near perfect off the field in order to even get them on the field. So it was tough, but you know, I think I'm taking more of the route like John Gruden had the route. He's like, I hope the best. You wish for the best. I hope the best. I hope he gets, you know, what he wants as he deserves. You know, so I think, like you said, this move, whoever signs him, it changes the complexion of the NFL season, and that's why we all love it. You know, the unpredictability about it. Excuse me.
Well,
So yeah, you go.
one of the things I'm going to say too, I'm going to be curious about is
Yeah.
not only what team, but how they set the contract up, because
Mm-hmm.
he looking like he really want that guaranteed money, you know. So I
Right.
mean, it's going to have to be a team. I'm not going to say in desperation, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's going to lean too much without getting that guarantee. So that might, you know, take a good little bit of the teams out of the mix right there. But like some of the teams you were speaking of, like New England did pop to my head. At this point, I think that would be a good move for him, even if we got to take a little cut on the money, because he's going to a winning organization. They're going to place him in a good position for success, and his talents do kind of are geared up to what they do, you know, because he's more like a pop and dink type guy, make things happen after the catch. So, you know, with Brady, that'd be great. And one of them now I like to see would be the Ravens, although I'm not so sure. You know, that's an organization that would tolerate that. You know, I don't know what direction they're going since Ozzie Newsome left. But that would be curious matching them up with that young quarterback. And they need something like that. So,
Right.
yeah, very curious to see what happens, where he goes, man.
Exactly. And you know, his cousin, you know, Marquise is there too with Baltimore. So,
Right.
you know, so that will be very interesting to see. Um, but yeah, I saw somewhere where whoever he goes to, if they don't play Monday night, because technically I guess that's a new week within the NFL week. If he goes somewhere that does not play Monday night, so it's basically not the Raiders. Who do the Raiders play? The Broncos?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So basically, if he does not get signed by the Broncos, whichever team that he signs with, 25% of his contract has to be guaranteed, at least 25% of it. But if he were to sign with the Broncos or wait next week, I believe, you know, don't quote me on exactly, I believe that it has to fully be guaranteed. So not sure. So it might be a situation where he might wait to whoever he goes to. It has to be fully, because I think it's because he's a vested veteran, which means he's been in the longer than 4 years. So it has to be, you know, fully guaranteed. I don't know. It's one big mess, and it's been entertainment and popcorn. You know,
Actually, it has, man.
yeah. I
It has.
mean, every day, every few hours is something new. So who knows? I told somebody earlier, I think there's probably like a 30 to 45% chance he says he's retiring. I'm waiting to see that.
He
Antonio Brown retires.
could. And
No,
then he, you know what, Antonio, though, man, he might do something like sit the year out and come back.
right. Exactly. That's what Bell did. Lev Bell did.
Yeah.
So who knows? Just moving on, keeping this thing going. Who are some of your favorites, you know, in the NFL this year? Who do you think, who are you keeping an eye on? Who do you think is going to be, you know, in the AFC, NFC Championship, Super Bowl?
That's a good question. I am curious. I don't know how far they can go, but I definitely want to see how the Ravens do,
Mm-hmm.
because if nothing else, they're definitely a unique team, you know, with the quarterback situation. I mean, he's a talented guy, and they're definitely bucking the trend. I mean, I don't know how much they're going to have him running. I mean, but in the past, you know, that showed usually your health. That's not the thing you're looking to do. So I'm assuming they're going to have him pass a little bit more often. And, you know, coming out of college, out of Louisville, I mean, I thought he was a how you say it, he had the ability to
Right.
develop the passing game. I don't think he was quite ready yet.
Mhm.
I wasn't really all the way against what they did last year, as far as using the skills he can to get the talent on the field, which I think more teams need to do more often. But you got to balance it as far as the injury thing. I think they handled themselves well with it, but he's got to start getting in the development of passing a little bit more. Um, I think his short to intermediate was pretty good. He got the arm for the deep one, but I'm not sure it was as accurate as you want. Maybe ball placement, things like that. But that's about maturity. He's only going in the second year, and if he can get that down, he could be a trouble, for the NFL. No question about it. Because not only is he a home run hitter, he actually knows how to run. And so yeah, I'm looking for Baltimore. Off the top of my head, I'm kind of wanting to see how Atlanta bounces back. The Falcons.
Okay.
Um, they're not like one of my favorites, but I mean, after this year, if they don't bounce back, they might have to start thinking about making some moves.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying at the quarterback position, but I mean, they were geared up for that 3 to 4 year run, and they're getting near that 3 to 4 year period. So they're definitely going to make some decisions what they're going to do. Like the Patriots, that's an ongoing saga, and they're always on top. And I got to give them credit from the top down, from the owner on down. But definitely I'm looking for the AFC North, man, because with Pittsburgh, Cleveland coming up on them, Cincinnati might not quite be there, but they got enough skill on the offensive side to where on any given day you might be in a little trouble. The Ravens, of course. So I think AFC North is a team, as a conference and a division that I'm definitely looking for.
Right. Yeah. That's a very exciting division for sure. I mean, with who we're about to talk about, the Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's always exciting, to be honest. To be a fan of any AFC North team is always down in the wire and exciting. Probably anywhere from between them and the NFC South. Those teams are always fighting for a division title, so that's always exciting. My teams in the NFC, and especially if AB goes to see the Seattle Seahawks, really, if he goes to anybody, he's going to elevate that team.
Right.
But I
what
really
about the Titans?
Right. Hey, they tried to trade for him.
Did they really?
They did. They tried to trade for him back then. Yeah. And I that's when I knew that it was either getting towards the line of desperation or
Right.
something I didn't know. So for them to try to trade for AB, it meant something. So, but yeah, in the NFC.
So Mariota and AB could be the new combination,
huh? Hey, he makes it easy. He makes it easy. He makes it easy. So
right.
One of the biggest, issues with Mariota is he's more of a see it, throw it quarterback than anticipation. So, if you send AB on a 9 route, fly route, it doesn't make any difference. Just throw it up. He's gonna score. He's gonna go get it. So, and I think that's what their thinking was. But like I said, I think the Saints and Seahawks are in the NFC. I think those two teams. When I watched the Seahawks, they had a few primetime games. I just saw, I'm a big Russell Wilson guy. I'm not sure if you know that, but back in 2012, before I really even had a Twitter, I had a first round, second round grade on him. So, and he was taking third. I just liked him from the get go. But anyway, some of the things that I saw on just watching him last year was the way that he plays is, extending plays, making moves outside the pocket, outside of structure. He didn't have anybody just to throw it up to, speaking of AB, just somebody that he can rely on consistently. Doug Baldwin was injured. And then everybody outside of Doug Baldwin, and even Doug Baldwin is a small type of receiver. And
right.
You have to be extremely precise to consistently, get the ball to those types of receivers. So, and, as much as I like Russell Wilson, he's not always pinpoint precise. And then, any quarterback, that's hard when you ain't got a receiver that has a large catch radius. So I really like what they did during the offseason, getting DK Metcalf, getting
Real quick, is DK, is he hurt?
he got his knee cleaned up or whatnot, but he's back. He's back now.
Okay.
And then they drafted Garrett Jennings, a guy out of West Virginia that I really like. And they got Jazz Ferguson, but I think they signed him to the practice squad. But they knew what they needed, so they got him some big receivers. So those plays that he just missed about an inch on, now he finally has those guys that can go up and get it. And they can run the ball. They were a top 10 running team last year. So Chris Carson, all those guys are going to keep going. The defense just got Clowney,
Yeah.
So, they might be like nobody's talking about them, but I really like the Seahawks. I like New Orleans as well, just because I'm not counting out Drew Brees. I like some of the things that they did to kind of restructure that offense. I like some of the things they did defensively. So I think those two will be a potential matchup in the NFC Championship, AFC Championship. I had the Titans. I had the Titans a while back. I had the Titans with the Patriots. Patriots are the ones that stayed.
Come on now. Was that like a homer thing or what?
Nah, it was early. It was early in the process. It was the free agency. To me, the Titans had probably one of the top 3 free agents. If you go back and look at what they did in terms of trying to remedy what was the problem last year, they did exactly what they needed to do during the free agency process. Now the draft, I felt like they had a great value draft. Did they go? They rarely ever go for the gusto, but was it a sufficient draft? Yes, it was a decent draft. But then you already know how the NFL season is. It's like you are constantly restructuring your roster. And the Patriots might have like 50 to 100 transactions throughout the whole year because they're always doing something moving. But since the draft, the Titans really haven't made like substantial moves. So based on what I said back in April, May about them possibly being in the AFC Championship, they haven't made any moves to kind of back me up. The Patriots have.
So enlighten me now. Did the Titans make a change at quarterback or?
You trying to get me in this Marcus Mariota? You trying to get me to say something? I know you don't want to do that in Titans country, man. They will come.
Yeah, you do got to live out that way.
You're right. Yeah. So, like I said, they have not made a move at quarterback. But like we said in a private conversation a couple of days ago, is Trent Dilfer has a ring. Trent Dilfer has a ring. So it's like Titans defense is solid. At least their defensive coordinator is. They have some pieces, as you know. We're big Kevin Byard guys, and if their defense keeps them in it, and we just got a guy back there that can make accurate throws, not turn it over, get a few first downs. You don't have to be Tom Brady. You don't have to be, whoever else you think is a great quarterback, but you can be sufficient and you can be a glorified and a little bit above a game manager. So, and really what I think is missing from that Titans offense is a deep threat like AB, coincidentally, that they can rely upon and just give another safety blanket to Marcus Mariota. And defensively, Jeffrey Simmons, they drafted a big, talented defensive tackle, but guess what? He's coming off of ACL injuries, and it's like you have to wait on that. So
next year, right?
He might. They're saying there's a possibility to come back after November. So you might get 4 games out of him, but at that point, will it be worth it? So,
that's what I was gonna say. They didn't just ice him down for the year,
right? So it's kind of like that move is kind of like real estate, as you know. It's like an appreciating asset. You get them now, but you won't be able to see the benefits until later. So, we'll see. But as of right now, another AFC team that can kind of be with the Patriots is, I didn't mention, and it's kind of like a layup because they were in it last year, but the Chiefs. I didn't like them. I didn't like them at first because of, I felt like Tyreek Hill wasn't going to be there back then. I thought he was going to get suspended for sure. So they're back in that place, and it's so easy. I mean, my AFC choices is easy. So I'm
Yeah.
not really going to go into too much depth. I mean, you got Pat Mahomes, you got Tyreek Hill back. At the time, he was going through some things, so it didn't seem like he would be there, but he's there. That defense is still a bit porous, but
Mm.
when you got a guy that can drop 50 touchdowns in a year,
Or 50 in a game.
right, right.
Come on.
So it's like you can't count them out at all. They're built for shootouts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now I'm
Which
gonna
is ironic. Which is ironic with
right,
them being in the cold weather. You know.
exactly. I'm about to swing it back to you. Bounce some ideas off to you. What do you think before we get into this Titans Browns breakdown? What are some topics you want to hit on around the NFL in general? Some players that you like. I watched a lot of prospects this past year. So
Right. Right.
question anything,
Well,
let's yeah.
one of the teams I want to throw out there, I just looked over real quick. I know we probably didn't think about it, was the Eagles. With Wentz coming back. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I looked over their roster, man. I tell you what, they are they're pretty thick everywhere. You know what I
Right.
mean? So the way it is in the NFL, you really gotta be. It's like survival of the injury thing. So just having the depth, that quality depth they got. I mean, they're gonna be in it as long as Wentz do anything this year, and he avoids the injury bug. So Philly definitely is one of them teams, man, that they're gonna make some noise one way or the other, if not be in it in the last week. So yeah, definitely want to bring up the Eagles. One of the players, man, I'm really curious to see, and he happened to be on the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
It's Derrick Henry. Because he's very intriguing because we know he got the talent. You see, um, I didn't get to see them, weekly, but even when I see him maybe get a 2-yard gain, I'm not saying he make it exciting, but you got to hold your breath because he's a different kind of guy. He's a stand-up type of runner with power. But
Mm-hmm.
yet, if he get through that crease, man, that's a 20+ yard, gain right there. That's an explosion play.
Right.
So, you know, with the quarterback position right now, like I would say not Effie, but we got to see on the development of it. I think Derrick Henry could have if they run him right. They got to run him right. And you guys don't have a fullback, do you?
No, not an official fullback. We're starting to kind of save a roster spot. So we're kind of converting our tight ends and making them like H-back fullback. So
Right.
you know,
Because I think he would thrive in something, where you got that fullback, that lead blocker.
right.
But anyhow, to me, whether the quarterback position gets taken care of or not, I think he's a guy that his talents warrant, you know, uh, 20 touches a game. I mean, what is he in his third year?
Drafted in 16, so 16, 17, 18, 4.
Come on. I mean, this is it's either now or never. To me, it's time. And so they need to let him loose and show what he can do. And like I say right now with the quarterback spot, like it is, this is it. This is prime time. So I'm looking for Derrick Henry. With the Browns over there where I'm at, my hometown. I'm definitely curious to see how that running game goes because you got Nick Chubb.
Mm-hmm.
So, who I have to admit, when he came out of Georgia, I wasn't as high and didn't think he would do quite what he's doing right now, to be honest with you. He outperformed what I thought. Now we got to see if he can sustain that. And as a Browns fan, I hope he is as an evaluator. I'm always looking to – I hope I'm wrong. I like to see everybody succeed. So I hope he can continue, what he got going on right now. And then, then we got the backup coming off, suspension, Kareem Hunt, formerly of the Chiefs. So I'm definitely wanting to see how they share the load with that. I think he come back after 4-game suspension. So you figure about week 6, 7, 8, he should have his wheels back. And that's going to be a development to see how that goes because if they both clicking, maybe they do the shared backfield thing. I don't know. But either way, we should be okay with the running game. And off the top, I want to see how Clowney does. Because Clowney coming out of South Carolina, I think we talked about it before in private. I really wasn't that high on him. And so this might be something that can rejuvenate his career. I don't feel like he's lived up to the billing, especially first pick overall. But like I say, a change of venue, different address. Hey, he got some compliments over there in Seattle. Maybe they, get off to a good start. You never know. Maybe he can put some numbers up and help them, go all the way. So that's just some guys off the top of my head. And since we was talking about it, let's see what happens with the AB thing.
Right. Exactly. That's funny when you were talking about the Browns, and it'll be a perfect segue to kind of really get into that because you watched several Browns games last year, right?
Right.
So with two people that I didn't, or a few units and players that I didn't get to talk about in the previous video with Jason that we dropped yesterday, was David Njoku and those tight ends. I know they got some new ones behind him, but the main guy's going to be Njoku, and their linebacking core with Christian Kirksey, Joe Schobert, and then Jannard Avery. Their pick from last year that I really liked. I really liked Avery a lot coming out, and I like Schobert coming out in a very. I didn't think he'd be a starter as soon as he did become a starter, but I liked him a little bit. Kirksey is somebody that I know has been around a little bit. I think he was with the Jets maybe before. I'm not sure if it's his.
He's actually been with Cleveland the whole time.
He's been in Cleveland the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's loyalty, dedication. But those two units, the tight ends and the linebackers, how do you think Cleveland employs them versus a team like the Titans, who are basically very similar to the Ravens in terms of defense? And you guys play them twice a year. How do you think they'll match up?
That's coincidental that you brung up them two units because that was in my notes, man, about that tight end linebacker spot. Because that's spots that I'm a little hesitant about. I mean, I like, Njoku, his upside. I mean, he got everything you're looking for when you're at the combine: athlete, height, speed, weight, all that combination. But at the same time, his hands are somewhat inconsistent and suspect. So it kind of offshoots what he's bringing athletically. He has to become more consistent with his hands, Then because right now you can't count on him, on them third and eights, them conversions, things like that. And if he ever got consistent with his hands, man, he could definitely be a top 5 receiver in the league, But that's like a lot of these guys, they got a lot of upside, but you gotta produce. So he's definitely. I'm glad you brought up the tight ends because he was a guy that I'm highlighting to see how his development comes because he's going to his second year, and even at tight end, you might have another year. You got to start bringing it. So I want to see what he's got going. And as far as the tight ends, I remember you brought up they got Demetrius Harris, formerly of the Chiefs, and then they brought in what is it? Ricky Seals Jones. I think he was with Arizona. He's a guy I used to like back when I used to do the fantasy thing. Both those guys got good upside. I believe both of them have basketball backgrounds too. So, you don't question too much of the athleticism type thing. But once again, the reason they was on the market is because of the inconsistency, either their hands or lack of production for whatever reason. But I mean, if you're gonna have backups, that I'd rather have guys with some upside like that, with size, speed, and everything like that. So I'm really curious to see how that develops. Because Njoku, this should be his year. He's going into his second year. You got, the quarterback there, Mayfield, coming into his second year. So this should be, a combo along with the wide receiver situation. They should be having that passing game, developing. So with the heat not on Njoku, he should be able to get some scraps there and build off that. So as far as the linebacker spot, to me, that's one of the key spots where I'm concerned about. I mean, I like Schobert. Like you were saying, I liked him coming out of Wisconsin, where, good value pick. And he always seemed like that kind of guy when you upstart team, he might can come in and start for you, hold it down until you get the guy that you really need. And really, he give a lot of effort. I mean, I like his effort. Yeah, he's actually pretty good in the passing game, pass defense. But you can see in a play in and play out, he ain't the most physical against the run game. Like I said, the effort's there. but the overall athleticism and everything you need to be, let's say, a deep run playoff type defense, I'm not sure he's got what it takes for that. And then as far as Christian Kirksey coming out of Iowa, I wasn't the biggest fan of his. He's more consistent than anything else. And then let me look at the depth chart. Yeah, they have Schober, then they got Darius Taylor. I got to be honest with you. I don't even know much about the guy, but he's starting. And, you were talking about Avery. Now, he's another guy. When he was coming out, I was high on him too. And he popped off last year here, flashing here and there. I just figured, he would just progress and start this year, but they have him reserved, which I'm somewhat curious about that. He does bring pass rush skills, which is a plus. But yeah, like you said, that linebacker spot, both in coverage and run play, that's one of those this upcoming week tomorrow, the Titans might be able to exploit, especially with having that tight end that you got.
Right. Yeah, I think looking at that with Schobert mentioning that, because I mean, he was undersized. I mean, I remember, when I wrote down the notes, he's a feisty guy. I thought he would start with special teams and kind of just be that guy that's just so pesky and being able to know the playbook. He kind of expedite his growth, and that's what he's done. And like you said, great pass coverage. Avery, good pass rush. Kirksey, he just seems like a good, consistent effort guy, like you said. And obviously, if he's been with that franchise his whole career, he's doing something right. Secondary, we already know of Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward. We talked about that briefly before. But what are some of the things you think they do well and what they don't do so well? And, how can the Titans kind of, how can they defeat the Titans? I don't want you to, become a public enemy number one in Cleveland by saying, giving us too much help. But what do you think they can do against, the Corey Davises of the world and Adam Humphries and A.J. Brown?
Well, I think they should kind of play up off them, only because I'm more of a bump and run guy, personally. But I think this week, definitely, I would play up off them. Because looking over the roster and the starters for the Titans, like you were saying, they really don't have that deep threat guy, and they really don't have what I call they're not exceptional with the deep threat, and they're not exceptional what I would say after the catch on short passes. I think they have good intermediate type guys that can continue with the run if the ball's placed properly. I know we talked about it before. I mean, we like Corey Davis, Now, I'm not sure if I thought he would be a little bit more developed than where he is right now, but that might be, maybe a lack of development of the passing game for whatever reason. But I definitely think he's one of them type of wide receivers. If you guys ever do make a deep, playoff run or whatever, he's at least an exceptional number two. At least, So I don't think the question is so much with him. Does he have a prior injury concern from last year?
He came in the league with I think a foot injury, a foot or an ankle injury. He couldn't even run his 40. But he's been having off and on hamstring concern.
Just little nick injuries, right?
Yeah, little soft tissue injuries, yeah.
Right. I do like that Humphries though. He might be a guy that can help you out. Those 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 6, maybe get you a couple extra yards. That wasn't he a sneaky quick guy. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's got good hands. I think he's got punt return skills, don't he?
Exactly. Yeah.
At Tampa Bay.
Right.
So that'll tell you right there. He's good in tight areas. Good eye-hand coordination. So I definitely is he running out of the slot more or less or what?
He's very positionally versatile. So that's what the John Robinson did very well is, with A.J. Brown and Adam Humphries. Both of those guys can play on the outside or the inside, but I think predominantly, especially in this game, we're going to need them on the inside.
Now what's up with Sharp? I remember we talked about him last year. And I've really not had a chance to really, check him out. From what I remember, he had good hands, good route runner type guy, but I don't know much more other than that.
Yeah, another J-Rob pick. He took him in the 5th round a few years back. He broke the record before Andy Isabella. Isabella just broke it in his senior season of the most catches. J-Rob likes guys who catch the ball, like production. He's a production guy. When he draft players, he looks who had production. We haven't talked about Taywan Taylor yet, but that's why he drafted Taywan Taylor. He broke WKU's catch record. But he's a slender type of guy. He's not going to beat anybody, deep. He's probably a 4'5", 4'6" guy. He has good body language. Makes those. He's probably like in the Adam Humphries role in terms of finding zones and getting third down conversions. That's kind of his niche right now.
Intermediate type guy.
Intermediate type of guy, basically. That's who he is. But he's not like twitchy, quick twitch. Just really just a reminds me kind of who's a good receiver that kind of not a you remember that receiver that was with the Jaguars? McCardell, a slower McCardell.
Keenan McCardell.
Yeah.
He was formerly a Brown. Yeah. He had a good career.
Yeah, but McCardell was like, I hate to compare because McCardell is so fast compared to Stark, but kind of in that build, but a slower McCardell that just kind of finds zones, sits there, and converts third down.
Yeah. Now what's up with Jennings and A.J. Brown?
Darius Jennings, he's primarily a kick returner right now. He's probably going to be starting on kick return. He's a solid. That's the battery. You got to plug it back in. But that's the battery. But Darius Jennings is kind of a guy that's at the bottom of the roster fighting for a spot, can play a little bit on offense, but primarily a returner. A.J. Brown, he's coming out of Ole Miss, 2nd round pick. Thickly built kid, 6 foot, 225. A lot of people comparing him to Anquan Bolden. I see more of a Cordero Patterson type of guy, but he's a little bit more refined. I see him as a better receiver than Cordero.
Now, do you see him starting in the future?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think that in the Titans 3 wide sets, he should be on the field. It should be him, Davis, and Humphries. Yeah, so, and I think that Sharp, because of his lack of speed, he has to stay in the slot. He can't really affect the game on the outside as much as he can on the inside.
Now, as far as Humphries goes, is he a sub 4.5 guy?
I say yes.
Like 4.45 type kind of guy.
I think he's a 4.5 to sub 4.5 game speed. But
right.
I'm not gonna say his 40 was a 4.4. I'm not sure about that. I know game speed. To me, when I watched tape of him, he reminded me of a Julian Edelman. I know that's an easy comp, and it's not because of his color, but to be completely honest, just that type. And
he's good at avoiding extra hits, I noticed too.
Yeah, man, he's crafty. He's crafty and gritty. You said, he's going to be starting on punt return. He took the spot from Midori, so and that's a story in itself. But just one of those players that is tough and dependable, and that's really what Marcus Mariota needs. Yeah.
One area I was going to talk to you about, is for both our offenses, that left tackle spot. Because I did a little research and looked over you guys' O-line, and with Luan, he's out with suspension, ain't
he? Yep, 4 games.
Yeah, because we brought back Greg Robinson, who was our starter last year, and we cut him and brought him right back for a more salary cap situation. And so he's definitely a guy that should be of concern for Baker Mayfield, especially in the passing game. You know, he was a second overall guy, I think, in the 2014 draft with the Rams. And we got a hold of him last year, I think, from Seattle. And he did, you know, average, maybe just a little bit above average. But that's definitely, I know that's a concern for them. I know our right guard, Cush, is a big concern. More or less, he's starting because we ain't got nobody else that can really take it from him.
Right.
I know we drafted, I think it was Corbett last year out of, where was that at?
I think it was Nevada.
Yeah, second round. And man, I tell you what, he's a second-year player. He can't even get on the field, man.
Exactly, and I liked him too. So it's like it got me asking, "What's up?"
Well, they saying he ain't looking good. He ain't looking good. They even tried to convert him to center, man. He
Oh
couldn't.
man, come on, Corbett.
Man, you know when you're in the O line and you can't get snaps at even other position, I mean, it ain't looking good. I think maybe the really reason he made the roster is because he was a second round. You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe this time next year, if his standard stays the same, he probably won't be on the roster, to be honest with you. So that's 2 out of the 5 spots right there at O-line that, you know, we got to have a concern about. And that's never good inside when, you know, your big guys, you got questions 2 out of the 5. So definitely look for that tomorrow and see what the Titans do against that.
For sure. You know, around here, they're talking about, it's almost like, you know, how media gets a hold of things and they kind of run with it. Like, how do you feel about how, because our left tackle is going to be Dennis Kelly and Lawan's absent. How do you feel about Garrett and you're going to have to chip him? And I'm like, you know that Olivier Vernon is on the other side too. So you're going to have to chip him too. And then you know that the Browns are going to have to do the same thing with Harold Landry coming out the end and then Cameron Wake. Cameron Wake might be, you know, long in the tooth. But
he still bring it.
Right. If there's one thing he can do, he can rush the passer. So, you know, it goes both ways, and you're absolutely right. You know, the offensive line.
Now, why'd you have to? No, I don't mean to cut you, but why'd you have to bring up Landry? You know I love that kid. I was hoping he was wearing that brown and orange, man. How's he looking, man? I want to hear the development, cause I'm thinking this should be his breakout year.
Right, first year, and it always has to start. That's why I like our conversation because it has a root. You know, we can start with what we saw at Boston College and then talk about what we saw now instead of about where most, you know, shows might talk about what's currently going on. But what I saw at Boston College was extremely flexible pass rusher that could bend around the edge. You know, very raw. And I felt like he needed to put on some, you know, get in the NFL weight room. But I like his speed. I like his ability to pass rush. And what you saw last year as a rookie was the same thing. Freakish ability to bend around the edge, had some soft tissue injuries. You know, that's from probably not, you know, being acclimated to NFL punishment yet. But this year he's gotten bigger. He's dedicated. His mind is right. He was kept out a lot during the off season for whatever reason. You know, Vrabel has a plan for him. Maybe he didn't want him to get hurt or something. But now he's back. He's bigger. So I can't wait to see what he does. So.
Well, you know, I heard all the attributes you was talking about him, but another thing that caught me when he was at Boston College was his tenacity, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't give up on the play. I loved it. You know, that's how you. That's the kind of keystone kind of guys, along with Bayard, Vaccaro. You know, that's what the making of a championship deep runner type of defense is made out of. You got to have them 3 to 4 guys that are just straight dogs. And I know them 3 right there off the top. You don't question them.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And then talking about that linebacking core, Rashaan Evans, you know, another pick during that same draft. You know, he's going to do some pass rushing as well. He didn't do it as much last year, but they're going to send him on some blitzes and even line him up outside on the edge. You know, he did that at Bama. That's something that I saw on tape at Bama that he could do well. So I'm glad to see the Titans have that, you know, same vision for him. You know, Jayon Brown, another young guy, John Robinson drafted, that's on the up and up. And then you already know Woodyard.
That's my dude right there.
That's the dude, you know. He's not. They don't have him as starting.
Right.
But he, you know, he's a captain and not even starting. They said he has been captain for 17 straight years
I'm
between.
gonna say he got to be in the league like 15 plus, man.
Right. But the thing is, he's been captain every level, NFL, college, and in high school for 17 straight years combined. He's been captain. So you already know what that said.
Hey, you know what I like about Double W is when I seen him at Kentucky, man. Okay, he was always undersized. I mean, he was almost at the safety size even at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some traits like we was talking about, you know, with Landry, just straight dog, man. You know, All-American in the SEC. And I'm going to tell you right now, it probably was even tougher back then in the SEC when he was coming through. I mean, you had to fight for it. I don't care if it was Vanderbilt when they had Cutler there when he was there. You had to fight for every game up in the SEC. But, yeah, he was bringing it every day, man, you know, breaking chin straps, you know, cast wheel, not the one to run that ball. So the fact that he's still in the league, man, I love it, man, because he represents football to me.
Absolutely. And to wrap it up, we're going to talk about what do you think? Well, first of all, before I say that is, you got any tidbits that you can share with me as far as seeing that Freddie Kitchens offense last year? You know, what are kind of his tendencies? Super aggressive. You know, he was under, you know, BA, Bruce Arians. He's super aggressive. His motto is no risk it, no biscuit. So you see Freddie Kitchens, you know, did they take more shots after he took over?
Oh, no, you could definitely tell the difference in the offense. You know, just more crispness to the offense and overall to the defense too. I did like, believe it or not, I did like Robisky, but man, you definitely could tell the difference, man. There was definitely a difference as far as the tempo, especially on the offense. I mean, Baker Mayfield, the one thing I will say about him, if he see that TD down the field, he gonna grab it. You know, he gonna go for it. So, the one thing that I like about him is his aggressiveness. You know, and once he's out the pocket, I think he's just as dangerous out the pocket. I mean, he's more than proficient inside the pocket, but if he break containment and doing one of those ad lib things like in the backyard, that's when you got problems. You know,
Right.
He will run the ball, but he's looking to pass first, which I like. You know, I like most about him, which you know, propels your team to another level. So, I'll be honest with you, the future looks good. You know, as if you're a Cleveland fan, I say in the next 2 to 3 years. You know, so yeah, man, I can't wait to unwrap that present tomorrow and see what they're gonna do. Although the one thing I did have to bring up too was their kicking game, because they got two rookies going to be kicking with the punting and place kicking. And the one guy they got a punter, Jamie Gillian, a former rugby player. Okay, you I don't know if you've seen the guy, but I seen a preseason game. I think it was the last one, and the guy just dude broke containment. He came up and gave him a straight form. I mean, took him down, man, no hesitation. Got the crazy hair flagging outside the helmet.
Oh, yeah, I seen that. Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah, man. I mean, he stuck him good, you know. So he beat out a long-time NFL kicker. And I wasn't sure what they was going to do. I mean, the dude got a mad, strong leg, man. Seriously. Like 50 is no problem, you know. The main thing with him is placement and stuff like that. Hold on, just half a sec. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. No problem.
You there?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah. I just had 2 orders come in on me, man. Food. I'm hungry. No, but
I don't blame you. I'm about to get something to eat.
No, but Gillen, man, I can't wait to see the guy because he make punting fun to watch. You know what I mean? So he got a strong leg, and the sky's the limit with this guy. Like I say, he beat out a veteran kicker that was a former Pro Bowler. So that was a tough decision, and I actually like the fact that you know, that the head coach went with him, because that shows some guts. You know what I mean? So he's definitely willing to take risk to gain. And this kid, as long as he can angle his kicks properly, man, we can really win some games due to field position. So I'm looking for both that and the place kicker, another rookie out of Oklahoma that was drafted in the 5th round. And he beat out Joseph this year that we had last year, which, wasn't no big thing. Joseph was inconsistent, but the fact that he was drafted in the 5th round, kind of, you kind of knew what was going to happen. So the place kicking and the punting is definitely something as a Titan fan, keep your eye on, because that could definitely make a difference, because it could be a tight game.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I'm glad you mentioned Baker Mayfield again, because I didn't get to say it in the last video, but he's very difficult to game plan against, because he's rare, because he can, like you said, he can operate outside of structure, probably better than most quarterbacks in the league. So it's like, if you keep him in, he can still operate in the pocket. You flush him out, if that's your game plan, he can still deliver the ball on the run and accurate as well. So one of the most frustrating things to play against a quarterback that can do that. But you also said something earlier, Derrick Henry, that kind of came back to me, talking about, he's the type of guy that you have to give him the ball to kind of get him going, get him in the rhythm. And it kind of reminded me of something that I saw reading, that, some people don't believe that it's a real thing, that if you give a running back more carries, the better he gets. And coming from a player that I've played running back before, and just thinking about the game, when you're running the ball and you only get 2 carries, several things could go wrong. You're depending on so many factors to go right for you. So those 2 carries are not a good indication of your yard. Let's say you get 2 tackles for loss. Your stat line looks like 2 carries, 0 yards, and most people think that maybe you're not a good running back. Maybe blocking was bad, but the more carries you get, the blocker might be right. Your vision starts to get in. It's rhythm.
No, I don't mean to cut you off there, CB. You know how I am. I'm like slow, But anyway, I had to rewind it in my head. Didn't you say you was a running back in high school?
Yeah, I play running back, wide receiver, cornerback.
I ain't worried about all that. We're going to concentrate on that running back spot. I can't let you go on that. So putting your evaluation cap on, evaluate CB at running back.
Evaluate myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Charles Barnes. He ran like Warwick Dunn, right? You remember Warwick Dunn?
Yeah.
That was my running style. So very, very had the gait that Marshawn Lynch, Warwick Dunn gait.
That's a combo.
As a runner, I loved our formation. So, and I'm gonna be honest, I did not like that's when spread was coming around. So my scouting report would have been, keep him in the I formation. He knows his vision is superb. He knows how to finish runs. He knows how to catch the ball out of the backfield. I never dropped a pass in the game. I never dropped a pass in the game. Practice one thing, never.
Belichick would have loved you. Belichick would have loved you there.
For sure. It would have worked out fine. We were the Patriots. And that was our mascot. Right. I didn't like him. I've learned to respect him now, but our mascot was the Patriots back then. But
let me give you a break. Let me give you a breakdown of the scout back in high school days.
Breakdown what?
Let me give you a breakdown of the scout back in the high school days.
I'll go for it.
So back when I was a sophomore, brother broke in on the punt return. I always had a flag. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So even if you couldn't remember enough, you had to remember the flag.
Mm-hmm.
So I busted out, on the punt return. And I ain't gonna lie, brother was nervous, because you beating out juniors and seniors for that punt return. And even though you're a team, you know how people be hating. Mm-hmm. So I think it was like 3rd, 4th game. I went to the house. Man, that did it right there, dog. that took the pressure off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then back then, they didn't really have like what you call like specialist type guy. So I played like slot, a little bit in the running back slot. Man, I wish I could have been playing now where they could really utilize. I was more like a touches guy. Just give me the ball, I do what I got to do.
Right.
So I think I got an affinity for a lot of the guys come out these days that might be like 5'9", 180, might be a little undersized, but they be some juice after they get the ball in their hand. Because
Right.
more or less anymore in the NFL, that stereotype position, just like with basketball, who is the forward? Who's the center? You know what I mean? Do you make plays on the court, on the field? So anymore, like even when you evaluate, you got positions. But really, what you're looking for, like an AB. Once he might catch a 7-yarder, but might take it 28 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So anymore, I'm looking for guys that make plays. Once the ball's in their hand, whether it's running back, wide receiver, tight end, do the linemen have feet? Because them guys are athletes. They might not look like against the receiver running back, but they are athletes. Check them feet out every now and then if you get a chance. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Throw the credentials out
there. Exactly. I mean, I credit high school for teaching me the game because I started late in 8th grade, and all through my college career, that was my start. I wasn't a Pop Warner phenom, so I always consider myself a late bloomer, and I'm always constantly learning the game. So, but I always revert back to lessons that I learned from high school was critical. We were very successful. We're well known in Henry County in Tennessee. We're well known, so it's like playing for, Alabama. Remember that show? What was that show called in Alabama? That team, Friday Night Lights, that was based on Alabama or based in Alabama, or Texas. One in Tennessee, we're kind of known for that. In West,
Texas.
Yeah. So
So you mean they gonna have jersey hung up when I come out in Tennessee, or what?
What's that?
Your jersey gonna be hung up at the school when I come out, or what?
I don't know if they would do that. To be completely honest, they might. If they do, I probably won't be up there. And be honest. Like I said, you gotta remember what I just said. Late bloomer. Guess what was my best season in my eyes? Well, I had a good freshman year. I had an 87-yard run, almost 1,000 yards, 10, 12 touchdowns. But I know that's kind of backwards. Freshman year, blowing up, but being a late bloomer. I don't know, but my senior year is my best year because I switched to defense, and that's when I kind of started learning the game tactically. That's when it clicked for me, my senior year. But yeah, I mean, you go there'll be stories of me. I don't know if it'll be a jersey though. But
well, I'll tell you what. Once you get that GM spot, I think they might put a jersey up for you.
They might. If not a jersey, a banner. It might not
put a statue.
Right. I don't even really want a statue or banner saying my name. I just want the team. I just want a lot of trophies and rings. I want a lot of trophies and rings.
There you go.
That's what I want. Well, like I said, just back to Derek. Yeah. What you say?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just talking about, to wrap up the Derrick Henry thing. It's just human nature. Once you see things over and over again, you get in a rhythm. And a lot of people don't believe that if you feed a running back, he gets better and better. It is very true. You can't just give somebody the ball twice unless everything is perfect. It's not a good indication, So that's really all I wanted to wrap up with Derrick Henry. But I was going to ask you, do you got a prediction? Just to wrap this up, you got an over, under, or a prediction what you think is going to happen in this Sunday's game?
I really didn't think about it like that. I'll tell you what, I see the Browns I could see 24-13 maybe in favor of the Browns.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, a lot of it's going to be, of course, we pretty much know what Henry going to do. As long as they feed the ball, he's going to do something. Mm-hmm. But, once again, it do come down to that quarterback play. If they can stifle Mayfield a little bit, slow that offense down. Because, we didn't even bring up about Landry and OBJ. That's a preclusion. As long as he get them the ball, you know what they're going to do. But, once again, and get back to Mariota. And, I'm really pulling for the guy. And I hope he do click this year, because I do think he has the talent, to be at least a top 16, top 10, So as a football guy, I do want to see the guys succeed. I really do, because this is an important year for them. Because if it don't happen this year, you know how it is in the NFL, man. Once you get tagged as that guy that can't get done, they almost reserve you as, you know, a quality backup, or you know. So the guy, you know, I really want to succeed. If nothing else, just, you know, for the NFL and you know, for the Titans fan, and make a heck of a game come tomorrow.
Absolutely. I like your score. That's 1 point away from what mine was in Cleveland's favor. And I'll share that before I say this. Uh, I'll show that after I say this. One of the things that I thought about this game was whoever is themselves first is going to win. If you try to be something that you're not, because I think, to be honest, I think the Bears, you know, better the first game of the season, the Bears were not themselves. They only scored 3 points. Their offense was so off, and they let a Packers team who only scored 10 points win. And I feel like if the Titans come out and say, okay, we got a new coordinator in Art Smith, and we got people saying Marcus Mariota isn't this, let's go out and 3 wide and try to score and be this passy, flashy team. You try to do that, you're going to lose, right? You're not that team. Your team should be built around the run game. And to be honest, that's how you offset pass rush. That's how you keep the game close. That's how you know, the game flows better. That's how you're on schedule. Same thing with the Browns. Browns can win in a multitude of ways, but if they try to be this super duper, you know, flashy reverse running team, you know,
Right.
you try to do all that flashy stuff, it's not going to work. But 24-14, if, you know, if the Titans, on the Titans part, if they're not themselves, 24-14 Cleveland, the Tennessee Titans can get that run game going and be who they are. I see them eking by 2017 in a tight game, especially if Dean Pease kind of figures out what, if they bracket OBJ, you know, bracket him, keep him under wraps, keep Nick Chubb, you know, under 100 yards.
Bottled up.
Huh?
Right.
Bottled up, yeah. If they can do that 2017 in a nail biter, you know, like I said, I can
now, you know,
yeah. I can see.
Yeah, something else I was gonna bring in there too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Something else I was gonna bring up in this too that's very important, and usually it do have a big factor into the games, is those turnovers.
Yeah.
You know, nobody can foresee turnovers. So, you know, even though I'm a Browns fan, you know, to have Titans get a couple of turnovers and convert those into touchdowns, because you need to get touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? If they can do that, man, and put some pressure on them, hey, you know, I love them, they my Browns and everything, but, you know, everything ain't won on paper. You know what I mean? You got to do it on the field. So this is the second year of Baker Mayfield, and, you know, the story going to be started tomorrow. So, hey, there ain't no games won before the snap. So anything can happen. You know what I mean? So I'm not going into this game saying we got the W, because this is the NFL. You know, anything can happen. And like I say, if you guys get Derrick Henry rolling, hey, you know, maybe you get some play action going, get that intermediate game going. And the most important thing for a coordinator, you know, knowing your players and putting them in the right strength, but is a rhythm. You know what I mean? You know, keeping the defense guessing. That's very important. If you can do that, I don't care what kind of defense you got, as long as y'all crisp and clean, keep down the penalties, stuff like that, and keep defense off balance, everybody got a shot there, because that's the NFL level, you know?
Right.
So I think tempo and crispness and keeping them all balanced, y'all got a shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I was just saying with the Dean Pease, you know, he always surprises me with his game plans. You know, he is extreme. The Titans have probably the best disguise team in the NFL with their secondary, Bayard and Kevin Kenny Vaccaro, those interchangeable parts. You know, they always surprise me. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a great game either way. It's either going to be a low-scoring game or if it gets high. I'm not sure if the Titans can hang with the Browns in the shootout, but we'll see. I'm going to see every single scenario except the Titans blowing out the Browns and see I can see it. I can honestly see it go the other way. I can see the Browns getting hot and kind of leaving the Titans in the dust. I can see that scenario, but I can't see the Titans winning big. I can see the Titans winning close. I can see the Browns winning close. So we're just gonna see. I mean, this was a great episode. It was great having you on. If you have anything else to say,
add something real quick.
Yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
add something real quick?
Go ahead.
You know what I really see, man? I want to see a 14-14 game going into the mid fourth quarter, man. Because then we're gonna see what the team is really made of. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. We they're gonna have to dig deep. First game, you're gonna see a lot of cramping. We always see that's the main thing we see in first games. A lot of players cramping, tapping out because the first game they ain't ran this much since January. To be honest, in the football game, these preseason games have become basically walkthroughs. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. So if you didn't have anything else to say, we're gonna wrap this up and conclude the episode.
That's good with me, man. Good stuff.
Okay. Where can they follow you at?
Yeah, like I said, I'm mostly I don't have no Instagram. I really don't fool with the Facebook, although I do have one. If you look up my name, Ken Becks is on there. But mainly I'm on Twitter. Like I said, I'm not as much on there, but if you hit me up, I definitely answer you, especially any evaluation type questions. Even I help you up with fantasy. I'm pretty good at the fantasy. I ain't on this year just because of the time thing, but I'm pretty good with the fantasy thing. But hit me up at First Down Scouting over First Down Scout _Scout on the Twitter. 1ST down _Scout on the Twitter. And definitely like to chop it up with anybody's football type conversation in game. If I'm available, I'll do it with you. So yeah, let's chop it up.
All right, thank you. And you can get me at BU Scouting. Thanks for tuning in. It was an excellent episode, and we can't wait for the game tomorrow. And we might just do a pregame or post-game eval of this recap to kind of just see how things went. And,
yeah.
And we might have the rest of the fellas on. So, like I said, he's going to be on, hopefully weekly. We're going to try to get him on weekly and just kind of keep this thing rolling. And we're going to get prospects in and things like that. So, thanks for tuning in. You guys enjoy your weekend.